I've been using ChatGPT since July 2025 as a personal coach. I've created an entire system for coaching, and it's provided great results this entire time. Recently, I decided to give Claude a shot. I stopped using GPT for a full week and started using Claude. I want to talk just a little bit about the system I've created over time. I am using the $20 version of GPT so that I can create a custom project. It started off as something called Project 100. 100 days of coaching with the AI was the original goal. It worked extremely well for me. I carried it way past 100 days and even evolved it into something called Endurance OS, just like my channel title. Started that in January on the new year, right? So I give it custom instructions in the project. I'll link those down below because I don't remember exactly how they're worded. And I also like to create context files, is what I've come to call them. And it's just giving the chat, as much information about my schedule, my goals, my constraints. The more it knows in that regard, the more it can help you, I feel like. I do keep privacy in mind when sharing with GPT or any private or public large language models, right? So after I've got the context, after I've got the custom instructions, I started originally with just one huge chat where I would just talk to it over and over and over, and it eventually became bogged down, wouldn't even load on my computer. It worked fine on my iPhone Pro, but it was huge and cumbersome, and I learned that context windows eventually degrade over time too. They run out of memory essentially, right? So I switched over to a weekly handoff. I use markdown files for everything. I also use Obsidian for note-taking, and I'm big on Linux as my main computer distributions nowadays, or operating system. I'm not using Windows anymore. So I really enjoy markdown files. So every week on Sunday, I will create a handoff, is the term I call it, a weekly handoff or summary as a markdown file. And then I kind of carry over, the wins, the opportunities, all the daily floor, that's what we call it, the daily floor. Those are the goals that I have every single day that we're always working towards, right? And I move all that in a markdown file. I create a new chat within the same project. I upload the weekly handoff file and continue the chat. I do a morning, a midday, and an evening reflection with the tool. Now, I decided I wanted to try and use Claude. It's been months and months and months of using GPT. I figured I'd give Claude a shot. I would try Gemini too, but the lack of projects or folders in Gemini just kill it for me. I do not like the gems that much. It doesn't feel like the same thing to me. So maybe when they get a project or a folder system in the future, I'll give it a try in Gemini too. But Claude does have the ability to create a project. So same thing, $20 version of Claude, and I created a really large context file with Claude. It's called personalmaster.md, I believe, and it actually took me a few hours to create this document. I had Claude create a template for me, and then I kind of completed it, in Markdown on Obsidian over time. But it's a really good context file, and I'm going to use it with my ChatGPT as well moving forward. I think creating as many different types of context files as possible is the way to go with these tools, regardless of which one you're using. So I don't recall if I gave custom instructions to Claude, but we had this profile master markdown context file, which was really good, very detailed, very thorough. And I started the same process, this weekly check-in process. I believe I actually had GPT create a summarized version of what the whole program was about so that I could create it within Claude to start. And then I kind of just went like normal for the rest of the week. Now, in my experience, Claude was very verbose. It would talk a lot, just really long check-ins. So long, in fact, that it would take me almost 15 minutes to read through them. And I felt like it was repeating itself quite a bit at times too. And I don't have 15 minutes for my check-ins, to be totally honest. So that right off the bat was a little annoying to me, but I kept at it. I kept going. Tried to read through, but I did catch myself skimming through the material because it was just so verbose, so detailed, and it was just super yappy. Didn't really care for that, right? Outside of that, I thought Claude was pretty good. You know, there's good content. I like the way it talks to you, the personality's fine, all that stuff, but I ended up not caring for it as a weekly coach at the end of the day, and it seems like Claude was unable to reference other chats that I had created previously, where I don't believe GPT has that limitation. I'm pretty confident it can pull context from other chats, whether they're in the project or outside of the project even. And I find that really useful when I'm chatting to it about life as personal coaching stuff, you know, where it can just reference the other things I bring up, all the other projects I have. So I ended up going back to GPT after a week, and I just felt refreshed when I went back to GPT. The check-ins were short, concise, dialed into the way I liked them. Claude did certain things better. I liked it. It actually did a percentage-based thing for my daily floor, where GPT does not do that. So that was kind of nice to see the percentage each night, you know, how well I did on the daily floor. I felt like that was pretty motivating. The biggest thing that I want to do moving forward is around 2 of this. I want to create a new project in both of them with the same exact custom instructions, the same exact context files, and give it an honest shot again. I feel like it was not super fair, the comparisons I made with this, you know, first week try, and I want to do it again. I think Claude deserves a second shot. And again, I'm not coding anything with these AI tools. I'm just speaking directly into the app as a life coaching, personal coaching assistant, basically. I think this experiment will go much better when they both have the same exact files and custom instructions, format, hierarchy, layout. The entire thing is very well structured. So if you find this interesting, part 2 is coming, and I'm going to try it again and be a little bit more fair in my testing. Maybe I'm a little biased towards GPT because I've been using it for so long. I do have a paid $20 membership to the 3 majors. I've never used Grok, to be totally honest. I don't really plan on it either at this time. But I do have the $20 version of Gemini, GPT, and Claude at the moment. I'm most familiar with GPT right now, starting to use Claude a little bit. Don't have a ton of free time to play around with it. I do have it installed on my machine in the CLI, the command line, which I think is where it really shines from what I understand. People love using Claude Opus in the command line, so I want to play around with that a little bit more in the future. I did install ClaudeBot on my Linux laptop the other day, which is really popular on the internet right now. Maybe I'll make a video about that too. But round 2 will be coming up in the next week or so. We'll give it a shot and see how things go. If you are using AI differently or you have some cool things to share, I'd love to hear how other people are using it. Feel free to let me know. Talk to you later.